gosh. I find myself so tired of the people that I work with. Do you ever feel like you're the only like in your job, right? And at your work, do you ever feel like you are the only person with brain cells? Like you're the only person that knows what's going on? That's how I feel. I feel like I'm legit the only person that has common sense. And to me, it's a huge pet peeve when people don't have common sense. They lack common sense. I can't stand it. This was one of those moments where I'm just like, oh man, I can't do it with these people. I cannot do it. So lately we've been getting a lot of new people, a lot of new starts. So we got a lot of new starts because more lines are opening up. We're getting into the summer months here soon. So usually on a line, there is around 7 to 8 people in total. But the past few weeks, we've been getting a lot of new starts. I think we've been getting like more new starts than we need. And so it's causing us to have around 12, 10, 13 people at one time on the line. And sometimes we would have like so much, we would have 11 people just in the back. That's not even including the front. So every time these new starts pop up, they don't know what they're doing, right? You have to teach them. That's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like the lack of common sense. I'm like, where are these people coming from? Like, where are you guys getting these people? I'm convinced they're just grabbing them off the streets. And because it's a temp agency, it's like they hire almost anybody. No, like literally they hire just about anybody. If you apply, they'll probably hire you, most likely. And it's like every group of people that come around, I just kind of hope that they're tolerable. Like, they don't even have to be the best workers. I just want them to be tolerable. You know what I mean? This was just one of those times where I'm like, I'm not talking to anybody. I can't do this. So we got, and I counted, we got 11 people on our line. Just in the back. So we're way overdone with the people. And these people, I'm telling you, very loud. They just want to laugh. They just want to laugh all day. They just want to crack jokes. Nobody wants to work, constantly going to the bathroom, constantly taking off their gloves for whatever reason, constantly walking off, and then they got to get water too. So, you know, we wear lab coats, and so for them to take off their lab coat, and then they got to take off their gloves and go to the bathroom, and then they got to turn around, they come back for 10 minutes, and then they want some water, so they got to do the whole process over and go get some water. Then they come back, and so then they're like, I want to sweep. And so they got to take off their gloves so they can start sweeping. And they come back and they talk. And the hopper's running empty because nobody's doing anything. They're just talking and laughing. And then they got to use the bathroom again. Annoying. And me, I've been there for almost 2 years. So I'm pretty much a veteran. I am considered one of the hardest workers there. Oh my gosh. Like these types of people that don't want to work. They just want to talk. They just want to go to the bathroom. And then when break hits, they take forever on break. We got 20 minutes for break, which I think is ridiculous. But we get 20 minutes for break for the first break. And then we get another 20 minutes for our second break. And they're gone for 20 minutes. And then they're gone for 30 minutes. And then you turn around and eventually they will get fired. I think the company is waiting for more new people to come in before they fire you. But just know, they know who's going to the bathroom constantly. They're watching you. When you're constantly walking down the hall, you're constantly off the line. They constantly, every time they walk out, they see you walking down the hall. They're going to keep an eye on you. They're going to start looking at the cameras. And they're not going to say anything. They might not say anything for weeks. But as soon as a new batch of new people come in, you're fired. And that's what these people don't understand. Like, they don't understand that the company will literally just, they will know. They just won't say anything until they get your replacement. And you're sitting there like, oh, new people. No, dude, that's your replacement. Pack your bags. But this particular group of new starts, now, I'm not on gummies, so I'm not with the majority of the group. I'm doing bottles. There's only one person on bottles. You only need one person on bottles. I'm by myself. And I've been doing gummies for over a year. I'm done with it. And one of the reasons why I was done with it was because of this. One of the reasons is because I got tired of working by myself, because we didn't have enough people, and they believed in me because I'm a good worker, and as they say, I'm the best at gummies, which is a compliment in itself, but I don't want to do the work by myself. You know what I mean? The other reason is simply because the people that I work with, I can't do it. And then it's like when you explain stuff to them or tell them like, hey, you're not supposed to dump the bag into the hopper because if it rips, the piece of the bag can get into the hopper. What you have to do is you have to pour the bag into a bucket or bins, the white bins. And then you have to go through it like that. That's the whole point, to make sure there's no foreign material, and then dump it into the hopper. You can't just dump the bag into the hopper. You have to go through it and you have to break up the gummies. I'm not an operator. So you know what? They don't listen to me because they don't have to, because I'm not in charge. Fine. But you know what? It's like these people, all they want to do is have a good time. We got our new starts, and it's like the first thing they wanted to do is laugh and talk. They already met each other in the break room, so they were already talking when they got on the line. You know what I mean? And it's just like the non-stop, not paying attention, not working. It's the problem is they're not working. And so I'm just standing there with the bottle. Now, listen, I can do the whole line myself. I don't need 11 of you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't mean to brag, but I can do it by myself and then have one person on bottles. And we're a two-man army, okay, because of me. And the supervisors give me a lot of credit for it. But the thing is, I'm not going to go over and do it every time, which is what people expect me to do because they don't do their job. So they're like, if she helps them out, it's like, that's the problem. I'm not helping them out at this point. I'm just doing it. No. And then what was annoying was the fact that the two hardest people were two of the three people that ended up getting moved because we had way too many people and then other lines needed them. So there were three people that ended up leaving. The two people that I saw that were actually just working, just minding their own business, just working, were the two Mexicans. And they were just doing their work, quiet. The issue is every time we have Mexicans, it raises the question, how long are they going to stay? And that depends on an initial hello. I'm so serious. Hello. And if they don't answer correctly, they're getting sent to Idaho. So unfortunately, they're working, but when the operator came around and told them what they needed to do, their reaction was to look at him and then smile, which was a clear indicator they didn't understand what he said. They're getting sent to Idaho. It happens every time, and they do that because in Idaho, one of the operators is Mexican and they speak fluent Spanish. And so every time that we get, a Mexican that doesn't understand English, like not even a lick of it, they get sent to Idaho because then they'll be able to communicate. Whereas over here, we can't communicate. We also can't pull out our phones because we're working with food. So you got like some that are like Martha, where Martha you can have a full-blown conversation with. And then you have the ones where it's like, hi, how are you? And they look at you and they're like, just know they're getting sent to Idaho. But they were the best ones. They were the ones that were actually working. Okay? They were the ones that were actually doing stuff. Did they know they were using the wrong gummy gloves? No. Was that hard for them to understand? Yes. That's why they got sent to Idaho. And it's like, if I was over there, it's usually like, it takes a while, but like sometimes they'll like break up the gummies and they don't realize that they can dump it. And so I'll tell them like, you're good, you can dump it. And they'll look at me, you can dump it. Dump your bin. And they're like, and they'll just smile and you're like, okay, so I'll just grab the bin for them and dump it and then put it in front of them. So then they know, like, oh, okay, they get it after a while. I'm on bottles and I'm going to stay on bottles. And so they got sent to Idaho. Destiny got sent to one of the count lines. And now I'm left with literally all of the leftovers. All of the ones that I was hoping to not get left with. Now here's the good thing. The good thing is I'm on bottles by myself. Like, I'm in an island alone. The bad news is when the hopper's not running and there's no product going out, I have to wait because my bottles won't move. Because there's no product to go into the bottles. So I'm just kind of standing there. And we'll stand there for about 10 minutes. And it's like, I know that they'll come and go. Most of the new people, they don't stay. All the people that come around, just know that most of them don't stay. Like, maybe 3. And maybe 1 out of the 3 will stay long term. And so I know that, like, it's not going to last forever. You know what I mean? It's just annoying because it's like, why every time we get a new group of people, they don't want to work? Like, nobody wants to work. And it's like, I know that if I was over there, I would be the only one working. And I just can't do it. And it's like, I don't want, like, confrontation, but I know that I'm not an operator, so I can't tell them stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, because they don't have to listen to me. And I'm just helping them out, but they don't have to listen. And sometimes they get irritated because I'm telling them what to do. And that's another thing about this job. Like, people don't like being told what to do, which is weird because you're working at a factory. I don't know why people show up and they don't like being told what to do. You tell them how to do something, and the first thing you hear from these people, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm going to do it this way. And then they get mad when they get sent home because they didn't listen to directions. You know what I mean? Like, it's just stupid stuff. It's just dumb stuff. There was a guy that was laughing and he was sleeping, and then he was about to go back to the gummies and he didn't change his gloves. You have to change your gloves. You can't just go from sleeping to doing the gummies. You can't break them up like that. You contaminate it. So I was going to tell him, like, you got to change your gloves, but I just didn't want confrontation. I just didn't want it. And I noticed that one of his dreads were sticking out of his hairnet. You can't do that either. Like, your hair can't be out of your hairnet because we're working with food. We don't want hair in the product. You know what I mean? Like, just basic, obvious stuff. I decided I'm just going to tell the operator so then he can tell him. So I told him. The operator went over and then told him, like, hey, you got to change your gloves. Make sure you change your gloves and, you know, you got to tuck your hair in your hairnet. Tell me why he got mad and literally just did not tuck his hair in. His one dread that was out, he did not tuck it in. And he got irritated. Not like super mad, but he was definitely irked. Well, lo and behold, the QC came around. And what do you know? She told him he has to tuck his hair in. I mean, like, what were you expecting? And I guess that made him so mad that he walked off and we didn't see him after first break. Was it that worth it? I mean, like, if you didn't want to be told what to do, if you didn't like the rules or what, why did you even show up? I don't get it. It's like when people have their hood out over their lab coat. You know what I'm saying? Or they have their hairnet and then they have a hat on top of the hairnet. You can't do that. You have to have the hairnet on top of your hat. And they get mad when the QCs tell them, or when they're on their phone. They get mad when they're told to get off their phone. And they're like, well, I'm not going to do that. And then they just try to get a little sneakier. And then they get sent home. And then they get mad because they got sent home. It's just like common sense. Like, guys, seriously, I can't. And I'm just standing there like, the things that people get fired for, the things that people walk off for, the things that people get irritated about is so stupid. It's so stupid. Like, I can't. So, like, that's where I am right now. I'm just at a point where I'm working with a bunch of idiots. I'm just working with a bunch of people with no common sense, no work ethic, no drive. Just, they're loud. They like to laugh. They like to have fun. They like going to the bathroom. They don't like to work. And it's annoying. And it's annoying because then the operator's like looking for me to help because they know that I'm good. And I just can't do it. Because I have to prove a point that, like, you, as the operator, you have to put your foot down and be like, hey, you guys need to start working or you're off the lot. He doesn't put his foot down like that. And it's like, I'm not going to go over there and then do all of their work because I already know the type of people they are. I'm going to get over there. I'm going to say, hi, how are ya? I'm going to start working. They're going to see my work ethic. They're going to see how hard of a worker I am. They're going to be like, oh, wow, you're good. They're all going to back up and shut down. And just like that, I am the only person actually doing something. They're going to make it look like they're doing something. I'm the only person doing something. And I'm the only person not going to the bathroom every hour, every 20 minutes, every 15 minutes. It's just one of those things. I know this time will pass. It'll pass. It'll pass. We'll have a new set in no time. I think all of them are going to get fired. I'm not going to lie. They're all going to get fired eventually. None of them are going to last. And that's one of the things that I notice with new people. None of them are going to last. At this point, the groups that we've been getting lately, none of them are lasting. I can look at them and be like, no. So this is where I'm at right now. Just waiting for some new people. Just waiting for a little glimmer of hope. It's just a waiting game right now.